Sometimes, the most powerful moments of faith begin in silence, not in a church, not in a crowd, but in the quiet corner of a lonely morning. The world outside was waking up. Sunlight slipped gently through half-open blinds, and the faint sound of birds tried to announce a new day. But for Daniel, that morning felt no different from the hundreds before. Empty, colorless, heavy. He sat by his window, the same spot he always went to when he needed to think. The city moved on without him, cars rushing, people hurrying, and yet he felt completely still, as if time had paused just for him. The coffee beside him had gone cold hours ago. His mind was restless, filled with questions he had no answers for. How did everything get so hard? Why did peace feel so far away? He used to believe that prayer could fix everything, but somewhere between broken dreams and long nights of doubt, that belief had faded. He prayed less, worried more, and began to wonder if God still heard him. Then, as he scrolled through his phone absent-mindedly, something unexpected appeared on his screen. Verse of the day, October 5th, 2025. He almost ignored it. But a quiet whisper inside his heart said, "Open it." He clicked, and there it was, a verse that stopped him cold. "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Exodus 14:14. Daniel read it once, then again. The words hit deeper each time. It wasn't a command filled with fear or pressure. It was a promise. It was God saying, "You don't have to keep fighting alone." Something inside Daniel cracked open, a tiny spark of hope in a heart that had long felt dark. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and whispered softly, "Be still." For the first time in months, he wasn't trying to fix his life. He was just listening. That morning didn't come with miracles or flashing signs. But deep within, Daniel knew this verse wasn't random. It was sent for him. It was the beginning of peace, the morning that changed everything. The room was still. For a long moment, Daniel just sat there, letting the verse echo inside him. "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Something in those words stirred a feeling he hadn't known in years: surrender. Not the kind that comes from defeat, but the kind that comes from trust. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and whispered, "God, I don't even know where to begin. I've been trying to carry everything on my own, but I'm tired." At first, his words came out broken, quiet, uncertain, like a child learning to speak again. Then they began to flow, raw and honest. He confessed his fears, his doubts, his failures. He didn't hide behind perfect words. He just spoke from the heart, and in that moment of honesty, something began to shift. The air in the room felt lighter. The weight on his chest eased a little. For the first time, Daniel wasn't asking God to fix everything. He was simply asking him to take control. He remembered the story behind that verse from Exodus 14:14. The Israelites stood trapped. The Red Sea in front of them, Pharaoh's army behind. Fear had paralyzed them. But God said, "Be still." Not because there was nothing to do, but because he was about to do the impossible. That realization hit Daniel like a wave. Maybe his own Red Sea wasn't a physical wall of water. Maybe it was his anxiety, his failures, his fears of the future. He had been trying to part the sea by his own strength, never realizing that it wasn't his battle to win. A quiet peace settled over him. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was steady, like the calm after a storm. He opened his eyes, tears glistening, but his heart lighter than it had been in months. "Thank you, God," he whispered, "for reminding me I don't have to do this alone." That morning, Daniel didn't find all the answers. But he found something far greater. Faith reborn in the middle of surrender. A week passed since that morning. But something inside Daniel had changed forever. The noise of life was still there, deadlines, bills, conversations, yet it no longer controlled him. For the first time in years, he woke up before the alarm, opened the curtains, and smiled. The sunrise looked different now, not just another beginning, but a quiet reminder of God's faithfulness. He brewed his coffee slowly, feeling the warmth in his hands, and sat by the same window where his journey had begun. But today the silence felt comforting, not empty. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you, God, for fighting battles I never even saw." It was such a simple prayer, but it carried the power of a heart that had finally found rest. As he looked back on the week, Daniel realized something profound. Peace wasn't the absence of problems. It was the presence of God in the middle of them. His struggles hadn't magically disappeared, but his perspective had shifted. Instead of asking, "Why me?" he began to say, "Teach me." Each morning he started his day with the same verse. "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." It became his anchor, his daily reminder that God doesn't need noise to work miracles. Sometimes he speaks the loudest through silence. One afternoon, a close friend noticed the glow in his face and asked, "You look different lately. What's going on?" Daniel smiled and said, "I stopped trying to control everything. I'm learning to be still." That simple sentence carried a truth that could touch any heart. Because we all face moments when we feel cornered by life, when fear, pain, or doubt surround us. But just as God parted the sea for his people, he can make a way for us too. So if you're listening right now, maybe this message is meant for you. Whatever storm you're facing, pause. Take a deep breath. Let go of what you can't control. Because God is still working, even in the silence. And as the sun rises this morning, may your heart whisper Daniel's prayer. "Lord, I will be still."